Hey there, Wealth Rebels. Welcome to the Wealth Rebel Show. I am your host, the original Wealth Rebel, and today we have a super special interview brought to you when I launched the Wealth Rebels Show on the 18th of September. Can you believe that was so long ago already? Today, I'm sharing with you the really special conversation that I have with Lauren LePley, who is the founder of multiple businesses. And one of my missions with the show, with everything that I do, is that I want to shine a light on incredible founders that are launching impact ventures that are literally changing people's lives in their communities and around the world. And Lauren is without a doubt a phenomenal example of this. Not only is Lauren an amazing multiple founder who has literally changed her own life, her own wealth, her own vibration, and everything that she embodies fully represents everything that I believe when it comes to wealth. But she's become a really important friend. And as I explained in the show, in this interview that you're going to experience today, whether you're listening to this on the podcast or you're watching on YouTube, she helped me to pen my definition of wealth being well-being, energy, abundance, lifestyle, time, and health, not being about money. Money is an asset, but fundamentally, how you spend your time, energy, and money is what defines your wealth. And Lauren was one of the first people that really believed in me, and she has become one of my beautiful friends here in the heart of North Devon. So I hope you enjoy the interview. Please like, subscribe, and follow the show, because this is what it's all about. It's about creating that ripple effect. It's about creating a spotlight, and it's about really helping these founders to get their message out there so that we can just have a beautiful life. We can experience everything that wealth is all about. Namaste. So, Lauren, we've had super tech issues this morning. So I'm on,
No.
but you are not on Facebook right now. You're on LinkedIn, but LinkedIn is actually where I have the biggest amount of followers. So Lauren, welcome to this crazy day. What was I thinking of going live all day for 7 hours? But I'm doing it to hopefully raise awareness of beautiful people like yourself and the charity that I really represent. So, Lauren, you are a multi-business owner based in the heart of North Devon, and someone who I just absolutely adore, as I think you know. Now, we've met, love, we met back in 2021. I just had baby Rose. Can you believe? And I used to come to your growth program at ALEAFIA with baby Rose and work on my brand new business at the time. And it was that time that I penned the wealth formula, the well-being, energy, abundance, lifestyle, time, and health. I think you said, really claim wealth. Like, wealth is a word, like you stand for wealth. And I was like, oh yeah, that seems really obvious when you say it out loud. And ever since, we've worked together and become really good friends. So I just can't wait to dive into some conversations with you. So let's just do this. We've got 40 minutes together. Well, we've actually got till 12 o'clock, but we've got as much time as you want, as much time as you can gift us. And I want to dive into the story of you. I'd love you to share a little bit about your story, from how you came to North Devon with the ALEAFIA way, where you are now, and with the Plant Cafe as well, please. I'd love to know just a little bit more about your journey, my love.
Okay, so I wasn't always in health and wellbeing. I started I grew up dancing and singing and performing, but I ended up on the other side of the camera producing TV, radio, cinema commercials. And then I moved more into the operational side of things. I ended up in fashion, music events on the operational side. And most girls' dream. And I was living the high life. I thought I was love it. But I was working hard playing hard. And I really, really put too much on myself, and I ended up really, really burning out, and got really poorly with it. And I had to leave my job. I had my own consultancy. I worked for different businesses. I literally closed down my business, stopped working with all of my clients. And I moved to Morocco for 16 months to reestablish myself, for myself, to myself, really getting grounded, really finding some true alignment into who I was and what I wanted out of life. And as much as I'd always played hard as well, I was always out partying. I had a lot of trauma in the background that really laid heavily on all of my actions. And going to Morocco and being in such a raw environment, like, just pulled back from everything materialistic and everything that I'd always aimed for. I really was able to go back to base and find my way, really, and do more and more of the health and well-being for myself. I mean, I had done previously, even though I was working hard, playing hard. I was also, I cycled John O'Groats to Land's End at that, during that period. I was always doing the new kickboxing or something, or co-boxing, in Sloane Square. I'd find my way to whatever was the new trend in London to go and do, working out at the best places. So I was still doing it, but not for the right reasons. And then I found my love with it, really, when I was in Morocco. When I came home, I retrained as a personal trainer. I then moved up and then did GP referrals to work with chronic health conditions. I trained, studied nutrition, and then studied more and more and more and more and more and more and more into positive psychology, into EFT meditation, somatic movement, and did a lot of healing, a lot of healing. And when I took my first PT role, just in the gym in London, and then I was managing Pure Gym within London, and I got into this space of, I was doing it for the wrong reasons, and it wasn't about well-being, it was about aesthetics, and I really had no interest in that. I spent a lot of my time looking towards working with the corporate side of things, working with CEOs. I understood exactly where they were because I'd been in their position, and helping them get their heads together by looking after their health. And it just got deeper and deeper. I got engaged to Michele after we had met in London at working together at a gym, and we popped down to North Devon with my sister's kids for a weekend. And Michele said, "I'm moving there. You can come with me if you like." So yeah, got engaged. And before we moved to Devon, I actually found out I had cancer, which kind of kept me in London for longer because my hospital was in London, my treatment was in London. They finally agreed to keep me on my treatment plan in London, even if I moved to Devon. So we did that in December 2019. And then obviously March 2020 was COVID. In that time, we'd also found our space to open up our own health and wellbeing centre, which is ALEAFIA. And which has just grown and grown and grown, and it's so fabulous. We have such an incredible community here. Everyone knows everyone. They're really good friends. We've got, it used to have the cafe inside this building. I'm there now. But now we've just got a coffee bar because we've grown the cafe so much, which is all alkaline, all well-being based, which is its own building. So allow the gym side to grow, to allow the cafe side to grow. And then I do my coaching. So that's how I've got to where I am with multiple businesses in North Devon.
So you've just literally, you embody so much of what I believe is, wealth empowerment. You literally follow your intuition and let life unravel. And you've just, the positive psychology, I saw you on that journey, obviously, because I saw you going on that journey, has been profound, because I really believe when you raise that vibration, everything just flows. Now, I absolutely adore the cafe. I get panicked when I can't come and have my vanilla matcha. And I was like, why didn't I know what even a vanilla matcha is? And I still don't know how to make my own vanilla matcha. I think I must have asked you about 100 times how I can make these waffles at home. And it's like, no, it's my secret waffles ingredients. And Harry and Rose asked to come to the cafe. That's how much they like it there. Obviously, Rose spent a huge amount of time. And it is, for me, that is what, when we talk, I'd love to know a little bit more about ALEAFIA Way, your ethos behind that part of what you've created. But it's a community. We need to knock walls down. When I'm thinking, I'm really, I'm just like, I just need to be around someone. I think, I wonder if Lauren will be at ALEAFIA. Well, I'll go down because someone will be there. Right. And there's someone that knows me there, and I'll just go and spend time at ALEAFIA. And I felt quite panicked when you had, you were temporarily moving. I was like, oh, it's not open today. And I think I messaged you at the weekend saying, when's the plant cafe coming back? When do I become the member? Because I want to be the member. So I want to talk about the plant cafe and what's coming next, but also diving deeper into ALEAFIA Way and what is ALEAFIA Way, if you could really define that.
Of course, it's really, really close to my heart because ALEAFIA, it's Arabic. It comes from Morocco. It means to be in the state or condition of good physical and mental health. And that really stapled that solidly into my heart. I've got it tattooed in Arabic on my side. And so ALEAFIA has always been that. I had ALEAFIA Fitness when I was just a personal trainer. But when I came to Devon, I needed to do the rest of it that came with it. It wasn't just about exercise, and it wasn't just about food that you eat or don't eat or whatever. It's so much more, and it has developed into the ALEAFIA Way. It's always been about creating a community, creating support, creating comfort and safety, to lead as an individual the way that you need to lead for yourself. Hence, I've now written a framework for ALEAFIA. Oh my goodness, it's actually behind me. It's it's ALEAFIA. So the first one is alignment to self. I think I'm running the wrong way, aren't I? You can't see that. The second one, I've got that there as well. The second one is long-term life success, because looking at the longevity of what we can achieve is so important to human health and well-being, and the wealth, definitely from where you come from, your standpoint of, long-term success is your personal success that you can only understand once you've done the alignment to self as the A and the L. The E is the empowered connections, which is so important to me, to you. We've discussed this with, how close we've become. You've got activity and movement, because yes, activity and movement above exercise. It's about how you embody yourself within the movement. It's about how you keep your joints and your muscles and your bones and everything healthy. It's about, you don't lose your mobility when you get old. You get old when you lose your mobility. So that's what this part of it is about. Yes, exercise, like specific exercise comes into there about building, resistance training, for example, is so beneficial for so many things. But ultimately, it's about the activity and the movement. And then flow state. Now, that's a really strong piece that comes from my positive psychology work, about doing things where time just vanishes, and it's where you have passion. It's where you feel purposeful. It's where things are always pushing on your boundaries of expertise, but crossing over into the uncomfort. So it's challenging enough, but you love it enough that time just vanishes because you're so immersed within it. And finding those spaces of time, is so important to your human, evolution of yourself. And then we've got the inner balance, which is where I would do, because I also study somatics and trauma, moving into neuroscience with all of that as well. So it's as much as, psychology, neuroscience, the body. We are, I'll go into that in a minute. So that the inner balance looks at the mindfulness, the connection of all parts of the body. that's where the meditation comes in. That's where somatic movement will come in. That's where, we look at the nervous system, because that controls everything, all of your thoughts and the actions that you are. And the final A is alkaline nutrition, because that's all around looking at the pH level of the body to how we can have a really efficient functioning human temple.
I love it. I think it's fantastic. Self comes up a lot, alignment to self. It is not selfish to focus on yourself. We have to so go into ourself in order to find ourselves, in order to know what we want to do, what makes us light up, what brings us joy. When you talk about compassion, in that part of your formula, I love a formula, I'm such a nerd. Compassion, when we think of being compassionate, it's opening up your heart, right, to the joy in other people's joy. We think that we have to, feel compassion by going, oh, you're having a bad day today, and absorbing the negativity. Your health and your wealth and your elevation and your sense of self, you can also take joy from someone else's joy. But we're trained to be jealous of other people's success. We're told to compete, especially as women, right? As women, to compete. When we, everything that you do, I absorb all of your energy. I'm like, oh my God, this is so amazing. I get to experience joy through you. And that is really expansive. So just the whole formula just fully embodies what I believe is wealth. Just wealth for me is a vibration, and that sense of self. My nickname is Elf, and I was thinking, I fully embody myself in my elfiness. Just makes me laugh. I'm such a nerd, such a geek. And alkalinity, when I interviewed Darren on the show and read his Super Life book, and when we know the pH of our bodies, and we know the alkalinity and the things that we put into our bodies is super, super important, we really realize that we are meant to lead a predominantly plant-based life, right? And you probably argue 100% plant-based life. And I'm really learning this. That I'm trying to make my 1% changes all the time in this space, but
you have to think about it. I always say to people, let's think about it on an excessive scale, to the complete, one end to the other end of the spectrum. So if you want the ultimate health, performance capabilities, optimal levels of everything, then yeah, it's completely plant-based. So because there's you reduce the saturated fats, which and we have less white fat cells in the body. We there's less water retention. We allow ourselves, by that combination of that and reducing the pH level of our bodies, to reduce inflammation. Inflammation can only occur in acidity, right? The baseline of every single disease or illness is from inflammation. So therefore, if we can eradicate inflammation, we eradicate illness.
I love that. Inflammation is the thing that creates the pain and the disease in your body. Everything comes from inflammation, and we can't flow. And I love the flow part of your formula. We can't be in flow. The movement of all the beautiful things that has to go through, including the energy, including the positivity, including all of the thoughts and things like that. We can't radiate and be amazing if we're not in flow. And then, if we're inflamed, it can't pass through us. So I just think, the embodiment of what you've created with ALEAFIA Way, and you've led this by doing it. You've gone on a journey, you've gone through a journey, and you've created it by life experience, right?
Well, I have. In 2018, when I was diagnosed with cancer, and then in 2019, 2020, I was told that, I was having multiple scans every 3 months. I was seen into the dermatology unit, MRI scans, CT scans, regular check-ins. I was, and I was told I was going to live with it forever. It was only July the 4th this year that I had a phone call that said, it's gone. And they were like, well, what have you been doing? And basically I said, everything you told me not to.
Yeah, amen.
And they said, but what? And I said, well, when I came in to see you, I told you I was vegan. You told me, and I walked you through my diet. You were like, well, you need to do this, you need to do that. And I was like, well, actually, what I need to do is more dramatic of what I already am doing. They really didn't agree with it. Their dietitian argued with me. I should be doing this. I should be doing that. I should be taking these supplements. I should be having this meal supplement. And I was just like, I'm not doing it. And I just went more and more into everything, into such a deep level, that along with the activity, along with the trauma work.
Because the body takes scar, isn't it? Trauma is
body, body holds the score. So yeah, we have. So when you suffer a trauma, you suffer with complex PTSD, which I was diagnosed with many years ago before the cancer. That actually has the same effect on the body physically as prolonged stress. So, when we talk to business owners that are constantly stressed about something, they've always got that bubbling layer of something. That prolonged stress has the same effect physically down to the physiology as trauma. Now, when we suffer from these things like the hippocampus in the brain shrinks. That's your memory. That's your learning function. Okay. We have increased inflammation, because we have increased cortisol, the adrenaline. We're always in fight or flight or freeze or fawn or what, we're never back to our homeostasis, which is our zero, our perfect number, for our body to be at. It doesn't change our DNA, but we change down to a cellular level. The epigenetics change, which is the way that our DNA is read. So our DNA is read away from its perfect state of what our DNA should be read as, because the epigenetics have changed. That's where the breath work comes in when I do my breath work, because and it's one of the other things that I've done consistently. Short. It's not about changing, stopping your life. These are short things that I do on a daily basis. And that works down to a cellular level of repair, cellular repair from breath work, from, into hypoxia changes and intermittent hypoxia, and having that ability to reduce the oxygen and change the way that your body looks after itself down to the inside. I find it really hard to talk about one thing without everything else, because I have done it myself, and that is why the ALEAFIA way is now the ALEAFIA way, and it is now, I can prove. I've worked with clients where they have come off medications. They don't have inflammation. Their arthritis has gone. They don't take painkillers for anything anymore. I can't remember the exact.
These things are just masking. It's just masking. The disease raises. Your body starts expressing the pain because it's ready to be healed. So you need to listen to me now.
It's your body screaming out, saying something needs to change. It's usually something derived down to the detoxification of your liver, because it's your liver that excretes the toxins. When that can't do that properly, everything else kind of just backs up and gets clogged up. It's, if you think about it, I'm just waffling now. Tell me to stop at all. But I go on 1,000 tangents. I'm in that space. So when we are derived from one cell that is divided and 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 divided again and again and again, right? So therefore, it is impossible to have one part of our body that is not intrinsically linked to the rest of us. We've all come from that same one thing that's just multiplied and divided.
Amazing.
Yeah. So it's, you have to consider every part of your human being and what your human doings are, how you treat yourself, how you treat others, all has a part on your well-being and your health.
And it takes practice. And this is why it's like you bring in something every day and you embody and embed that into your practice. And I remember you talking about this in the growth program, what one thing can we do differently every day? And I just feel breathwork is profound. Breathwork has really changed me. If there was one breath like that we could do from today, because you talk about hypoxia, that's a breath hold, right? What would you say is like a really simple, if I could just do one breath for even 5 minutes a day? Because that's, what would it be?
A simple one that anyone can do without any or two that anyone could do without any training or anything like that is well, I would either say practice nasal breathing, so not to breathe.
That one is really good, isn't it, where you channeling
yeah, do that, but it would be just to generally practice breathing only through your nose. But other than that, I mean, the simplest of them all, like box breathing.
Box breath. I was glad you brought that one up.
It's just the simplest thing to do. Whether you need to find clarity on something, whether you want to get into a space where you can really tune into your gut instinct, whether you have anxiety, any of it. So you breathe in for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, and hold for 4. 4, 4, 4, 4. In, hold, out, hold. In, hold, out, hold. It can help in so many ways. And it's just the simplest thing to do, that you don't, when you're overwhelmed, you don't have to think too much about it other than the count. And the simplicity of counting to the number 4 on repeat just really gets your focus where it needs to be.
And I think as well, one of the biggest things that we don't do when we don't nasal breathe, and we're not meant to breathe through our mouth. It's really detrimental. We're meant to breathe through our nose and train ourselves. And that really helps define your face. Actually, I was listening to someone talking about this. Like I find the whole thing fascinating.
Yes, it does.
We breathe into our stomach and our diaphragm and into downwards. So when you're doing your box breath, breathing and just seeing how your stomach moves, and especially as women, we are told to hold our stomachs in to look amazing, have the abs. Oh my goodness, no wonder we go through life like not happy and like not breathing. And
it's one of the reasons I don't wear an underwire bra anymore, because it's so restrictive that your ribs can't expand.
You're making me touch my boobs right now. It's so natural, isn't it?
But yeah, so like if you say to someone, take a deep breath, everyone goes, yeah. Basically, I've just used this part here. So if you should think about it and to close your eyes and to just really take intentional breath and feel your belly button move outwards on the inhale, and then you can feel it rise to your chest. But then on the exhale, push the belly button in. And the best way to do it is to feel like you're blowing through a straw on the out. And that can really help you control the diaphragmatic breathing. It's also really good for your core strength. So many.
You start using your the muscles that are down deep within. It's phenomenal. The first thing we do when we're born is we breathe, and it's the last thing we do on the way out. And why is it we forget how to breathe? It's transformative. And you 100% think I really, really enjoy being guided on breath work, though. And I do want to say how much, because obviously this is something that you are trained in, and I can't wait, because we're going on a little road trip in a couple of weeks to Peaky Fest, where you've got a beautiful TP to bring your amazingness, and I'm supporting you in that, which I can't wait. And we're going to do some breath work together, and somatic stuff, which I really believe that my life has been where I come, over the last few years. I've survived different traumas because of all of these practices, 100%. And then, yes, you can do your box breath 5 minutes every day, but having someone to guide you on a journey through breath work is even more incredible and life-changing. I find that when I do breath work, profound insights come in, ideas come in, and I'm like, where the flip did that come from?
It's been there. It's been waiting to get out, but we subconsciously just have the blockages, and we put walls up, and we don't allow it for ourselves. I too love being guided in any of those practices, whether it's yoga or breath work, meditation. I personally love being guided as well. I love it when I get to go out and I get to be a participant and be led. So much so, I train in Soma breath with Niraj Nikal, and he works with Mind Valley. He has Cambridge University have just recently gone further into their studies of his work, and it's been peer reviewed, and it's just really incredible about how, you know, the natural psychedelics and the way that you can open up your mind into another space. It's just so exciting. You know, that's another exciting thing about this expansion of business that I've got going on. You know, the new cafe actually on the upper floor, I'm having a healing room, which is about the breath, about the somatic work.
Yeah.
It's separate from ALEAFIA. But it's, you know, it's all, everything, it's the plant bar by ALEAFIA. It's all around the same thing. You know, it's just, there's not a building big enough for me to have,
I always think
have
the tree
enough rules.
things grow out from the tree, you know, it comes out of your purpose, and then those branches come off. And that's when the tree grows and thrives, because you're growing from a real place of knowing what your real deep purpose is. And then everything that sprouts out from that just comes back and feeds it in as well. It brings the light back in, the leaves bring it all back in and nurture that beautiful tree that will just keep growing and be strong and grounded, and, you know, keep forever, ever kind of changing and evolving.
Yeah, it is. It's the life cycle, you know. You know, yes, there's a beginning and an end. Well, but that's a different conversation. But you know, but the evolution of life, you know, it's thinking about the snake that loses its skin. It's about the caterpillar that cocoons and becomes a butterfly. It is about change. We're not supposed to stay the same.
No.
The leaves come and the leaves go. Then they come back on more branches, then they go, then they come back even bigger, and then they go. It's about that, and it is like the coming and the going of a breath. Whilst we're talking about breath work, another interesting thing that I love is the animals that live the longest are the mammals that breathe the least. The animals that breathe the fastest, more breaths per minute, have the shortest lifespan. We should have about 4 breath cycles in a minute. 6 breath cycles in a minute. It's be really interesting. And next time any of you listening, watching, just think, wonder how many I have. Think at your breath cycle per minute.
I did this exercise because I was doing the Wim Hof, right? So I've been doing the online Wim Hof, and I'm restarting it all again, because like I did it during a really hard time over the last 8 months. And I did it, and I did this exercise, and I'm like, I'm restarting, funnily enough, on Sunday again, just to go through all of the different stages of the Wim methodology, which is all about, really fundamentally, is breath work. We think it's the cold exposure, but that's a different part of it, but it's mostly breath work. And we timed the breath, and anything over, what was it, like, I can't remember, it was 25 breaths in a minute, you're in a state of stress. And that's where my breath was. And I practiced breath work, right? It was really amazing to know. And just thinking of a way that you can slow your breath down by taking that really intentional heart breath and slowing yourself down. But also, we have to physically allow ourselves to slow down. Life's not a race.
No, I totally agree. And, you know, you were saying earlier about, especially, you know, when we get onto that hamster wheel, we get into that headspace, and we step into our masculine. We all have both masculine and feminine energies, but when we are too led by the masculine and everything is more of a force, you know, you're pushing rather than being pulled. That's where the stress comes from. So when we can pull back and let things go into more of a flow, and we get pulled into the right directions where the decisions are being made, I always feel like it's being made with myself rather than for myself. Things are slower, things become easier. It doesn't mean any less gets done or anything less happens. It's just so much more of an enjoyable journey. So I'm finding that right now. So doing so much. So as well as moving a cafe, opening a new business in a different building, I've moved house last weekend. Everything's happening in a couple of weeks. I've got 3 speaking gigs over the next 4 weeks. And everyone's like, oh my God, how are you doing? Oh, it's like, just letting it flow, letting it be. And I know what needs doing. And it's just about prioritization and not having expectations that surpass possibility. Don't get me wrong, my possibilities are, I've learned to grow that space because of resilience and all the different things that happen during practice and life. But it's having that constant pull with well-being definitely enables me to achieve more, because I'm calmer and I'm more gut-led and I have space to think.
Yeah.
If you think about, it works the same conversation I have actually about nutrition. When you eat too much, if you get full is 10, you should only ever eat to like a number 7, because if you think about a fire in a log burner, you put all the wood in. If there's too much wood, there's not enough oxygen, so it dies. It's the same with everything that's going on. If you put too much in, it's just going to stop. You have to understand when to load it up with another log. Doesn't mean the logs aren't there and they aren't being in the process. It just means like what's in front of you at that one time. You just have to understand where your levels are of capability and how big your space is.
Amazing. 100%. I always think, like when I'm, thinking too much in my mind and my head is like all over the place and I don't have space. My word last year for 2023 was space. Creating space, stripping things back to have a little bit more space, because when we have space, we can breathe. Because that's the breath, right? We can breathe and we can experience all of the pleasurable parts of what we do. It's like today. I give a really live example. Coming on this morning, I was meant to, and I mapped it out as well. I always have a little plan, but like what you said, oh, you've got a matcha. That's not fair. Where's mine?
Cafe opens tomorrow. Come and have a matcha tomorrow.
Okay. Cafe is open tomorrow, guys. And if you listen to the podcast, it's already open. So, like, literally, I needed to create more space. I've gone off because I got distracted then by your matcha. I forgot what the flip I was saying. I'm sure it'll come back to me this morning. Yeah, the live example. I always map things out. I always know, roughly what I'm trying to do. But I've really released all expectations, because expectations are really toxic when it comes to being wealthy. Because if you've got expectations, you have attachment, and having attachment to anything is going to hold you back. And you have to really fully surrender to the flow of life. So this morning I was like, well, by 7 a.m. I really wanted to have my 2 videos on YouTube. I've scheduled my podcast because I know how to do that. That was done ages ago. So that all went out beautifully this morning. And I'd sorted all the things out with YouTube, went to do it all. I had Harry and Rose here this morning who were going, Mummy, please can I have my breakfast right now? And I was like, I'll do it in 10 minutes. If you just give Mummy 10 minutes, because it was 10 to 7. I'd got all my show notes ready. I was like, I'm just going to do these 2 videos on YouTube. They wouldn't go up. They wouldn't go up. So instead, in that moment, I pivoted. I got them into a Google Drive. I messaged my assistant. I was like, going ahead with the launch. This is what is going to happen. And we'll fix YouTube over the next few days, but YouTube's there and people can still subscribe to it. And what will be, will be. I'm not going to stress out about it. I then went to go live when I got back from taking Harry and Rose to school at 9:30 this morning, to not being able to go live on Facebook through StreamYard. Even though I tested it yesterday, there is a full moon and there is an eclipse and there is all this energy. And Sarah Mannion, who's coming up next, was actually saying, Em, you do realise you've decided to launch on these days. But I was just like, I believe really the energy was coming in to say, this is what it's going to be. And I'm just like, I let it go completely. And I've really learned to just let go of the things that I can't control and just flow with it and just trust, because we don't trust anything. We fear everything. And so trusting that in this moment. So everything you've just said, you're just letting it flow, because then I really get to enjoy having a beautiful conversation right now with you in this moment, hearing everything that you're saying and recording it and just thinking, do you know what? YouTube will still be there in a few hours and I can then figure it out when I'm having a nice meal later on tonight that I'm going to try and make as much plant-based as possible. I might have to find an alternative Parmigiano. Um, so I 100% agree that this is so important for people to embody. We really need to take its alignment with self, alignment with self, but ownership of this, sovereignty of all of this is your responsibility. It's our responsibility. How do you feel about
that? I definitely agree with that. And going back to the self thing, it is about, I mean, I refer to it as the self trinity. We have to have self understanding, self awareness, and self worth. We can only have self-awareness if we have self-understanding, because we have to understand how we got to now, to the present, to be aware of where we're at. And we can only think about the future and the every next second about, that's our worth, what we're going to project out into the future. So it's about the past, the present, and the future. Yeah. Self-understanding, self-awareness, and self-worth moving forward. And with that, you collectively have so much alignment into how you've got to here. Whatever your thoughts are with it, you can only let go if you look at it and you allow it in. And then into that flow and into that space of just ease
really is possible. Like, I think that that the fact that we are in dis-ease a loads of the time, disease, is because we're not allowing ourselves to really believe that we can have an easy life.
Yeah,
we're told that we have to work really hard and literally slog our guts, be in a rat race. And we don't have to be in that state of beingness and that's not success. We don't get a medal at the end of our life because we killed ourselves in the process of, doing in that very masculine energy. You're going to be remembered in your life for the life you lived. And the kind of the legacy you leave behind is not the things that we often are led to believe. I think when it comes to well-being, I think we've got a really strong sense of how you really transform people on their journey, because it's creating that framework and then providing that safety was really important, where someone can come and really be safe in a breathwork session. One of the things, I'll tell you a little story, because safety comes up a lot when you're trying to embody a breathwork session and be open and see what comes up. I went to a retreat last week. I went to the Awakened Woman retreat. Oh my goodness, I was howling in my session. I mean, you have to really feel safe to allow whatever comes out, whether that's a huge breath, whether that's like anger, to be angry because we're told being angry is really bad. No, it's an emotion. Sometimes your body is angry and you have to release it in a safe way that's safe for everyone as well. So the fact that you create that safety in above the cafe for people to come and experience these things is really profound. What are you there's so much going on in your world. That tree is like branching everywhere. What are you focusing on right now in your world? What is your focus right now?
Today, the cafe opening tomorrow. For me, the focus currently is being able to share the ALEAFIA way as solidly and as far as possible to enable people to have that understanding that for complete well-being, it has to incorporate